you going to be a fucking problem, bud?
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Cheap Smut. My name is Katie Mizell.
And my name is Carl Mizell.
And this is a podcast that can't get rid of me that easily. Hello, honey. How are you?
I'm good. Welcome back to your podcast.
Thank you so much. Very special thanks once again to Wendi Harper for doing a fantastic job with the Frankie's Funhouse episode last week. I had such a good time listening to that.
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to record. Gwendolyn, thank you so much for being such a wonderful stand-in for the magnificent Katie. You did a tremendous job, but it is so good to have you back in the driver's seat.
Absolutely.
And ready to take me for, if your outbursts of laughter were any indication, one hell of a ride this week.
Oh, my love. I am taking you for a wild fucking ride. And I hope you enjoy it, but strap in and put the harness over your shoulders and put your arms up.
Yeah.
Because
I got my comfy robe on.
yeah, good. Get comfy. Oh, you're not wearing underwear under there, are you?
I am not.
You're gonna flash me like Sharon Stone.
No. For a variety of reasons, it will not be like Sharon Stone.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, obviously. Have we done all the normal stuff? How have you been?
I've been really, really well. I got to spend a lot of money fixing the house this week, but
Man.
I was extremely grateful that we were able to do it. And now our house is future-proof. We now have a 200 amp panel box.
Yeah, we're all special and fancy with our upgraded electrical.
That's right, down in the basement. So no more Pushmatic fuses that could burn out and leave part of your house without power.
Right.
So that was really good. I found out I've got a lot of travel coming up for work in April, so that's going to be a lot of fun. But otherwise, I am doing really well. We usually record on Fridays, and today is a Friday, and Fridays are usually leg day, and today was leg day, and like a psychopath, I love leg day.
Yeah, I know.
So I've been flying high on impending DOMs all day.
I've been flying high on leg day too because you wear those tiny shorts.
I do wear those tiny shorts.
Yeah.
I do. But in my defense, squatting with pants on is for suckers.
Well, good. Let the suckers have their pants and you can wear those itty bitty shorts.
Yeah, that you got me for Christmas.
Yes, I did.
And I ordered myself a new pair of shorts today. I'm not going to spoil the surprise. Maybe we'll do a fun little reveal on TikTok of
would be funny.
Of my new shorts when they get here. But enough about me. How are you? You are healing.
I am. Yes, I'm healing. I'm doing much better than I was this time last week.
Mm-hmm.
I had what's it called? I had a connective tissue graft on the very front of my face last week to fix some gum recession from a previous injury. It's a whole thing. Long story short, I now have several stitches in my face, but the swelling is going down, and I feel a lot better.
Yep. And your upper lip is still not moving.
Not quite right.
Not quite right. So watching some of your TikToks from the last week, it's not quite like AI, but you can tell that something's not right.
Yeah, about the way my face moves.
About the way your face moves.
Yeah.
Not quite uncanny valley because you
No.
are clearly a human. I've been with you
No.
for almost 16 years. So.
I think it's kind of sexy. I think it gives me a sort of Milo Ventimiglia thing going on because he has that sexy smirk from his he has a muscle tension disorder in his cheek, and he has this smirk all the time that was a big thing for the Jess Mariano fans of the Gilmore Girls era.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
I forgot.
Milo Ventimiglia has a sideways smirk.
I completely forgot about his time on Gilmore Girls.
Oh yeah.
I only know him from a TV show that I never watched. It was
you only know him from This Is Us?
That's what I remember him on. Even though I watched the entirety of Gilmore Girls, I have erased my memory of him on that show and only remember him from from This Is Us. Even
that's,
though
that's wild. You
he
know, a
was
lot of
great. He was great on Gilmore
he
Girls.
was great on Gilmore Girls. A lot of people say that Jess was their like teenage gateway drug to morally gray kind of asshole boyfriend main characters.
Oh, that totally
it totally tracks.
Yeah,
it's great.
absolutely.
It's so great. Bless.
But
bless.
I don't think we're gonna have any morally gray
no
boys in.
No, there's not a single morally gray boy in this book. If that's what you're after.
Yeah.
No, this is I'm not gonna say it's cozy, but it's definitely not morally gray. These people are wonderful and lovely and delightful.
But just based on the title alone, one of them. Not human. It actually is. I didn't know this because I'm not tuned into like all the ins and outs of like the fun things that happen on Book Talk, but it is Monster March Madness right now. Okay.
So a lot of creators are taking the whole month dedicated to some of their favorite monster fucker books.
Mm-hmm.
So I just happened to be doing a Cthulhu book for you at the very beginning of March. That is completely coincidental.
No, it doesn't matter how you got there.
No, it doesn't. But it's a nice coincidence. Let's go with that.
Yeah.
I chose this book specifically because you are a fan of Cthulhu.
I am. I am a big fan of the Cthulhu mythos.
Yes.
I do have a massive Cthulhu tattoo on my right shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Frequently, people say, "Oh, is that a mind flayer?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Well, yeah. I mean, that looks like a lot of mind flayer, but no, it is definitely Cthulhu."
So this week I read Claimed by the Cthulhu by Wendi Gogh. Fantastic name. Wendigogh. Wendi Gogh.
Yep.
In reference to the Wendigo, in case you don't know, the Wendigo is a cryptid, sort of, but it is from indigenous American folklore.
Mm-hmm.
If I remember correctly, it's from native folklore. So Wendi Gogh wrote the Monstrous Meet Cutes series, which this is a part of, and it uses one of my favorite book naming conventions. It's alphabetical. So audited by the Anubis,
Mm-hmm.
bossed by the Bogart, which just came out a few days ago, checked out by the Chupacabra, claimed by the Cthulhu, edged by the Erlking. Like, it's, it's going to be fun.
Dicked by the Jersey Devil.
Dicked by the Jersey Devil would be fun. I would enjoy that one.
Dominated by the Dog Man.
Ah, yes, there you go. I was going to say dick down by the Dog Man.
Dick down by the Dog Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Railed by the Rouge, the Nain Rouge. Nailed by the Nain Rouge.
Blown by the Baba Yaga.
Or the Bigfoot. Blown by the Bigfoot. That would also be fun.
Wendi, you can have all of these.
I mean, I could just keep throwing them out all day. I love alliterations and I love cryptids. So this book is available for $4.99 or through Kindle Unlimited. I didn't check and see if it was available to purchase because neither one of us could find a website for Wendi.
No, I checked their Instagram. They had I don't think they had a link tree. Like, I could not find any place where there was any sort of online presence that you could buy a physical copy of this.
Yeah. So it may just be on Kindle, which is fine because digital books are books. Hooray. So let's get started on this one. Our trigger warnings are past religious abuse and religious trauma, past sexual abuse and sexual trauma, past birth and adoption trauma, present at-risk pregnancy and newborn medical trauma to a secondary character. So there's a storyline that feels very much like a NICU storyline, which can be very triggering for parents who have had NICU babies.
Mm-hmm.
Be cautious. Our sex content this week is monster fucking, tentacles, a very unique piece of anatomy, pegging, and at no point in this book does this dude fuck this woman. I didn't know how to put this because it's not really like sex content. I just found it so interesting that at no point in this book did he with his hips ever hump her vagina ever. It was wild. It was cool. They did so many cool sexual things and none of them were the sex act. It was great.
I don't know if that gets me more interested or less interested in terms of it feels like you kind of ruined the surprise now. But I'm sure
I have not even gotten close to the surprise, my guy.
I should have known.
No.
I should have known.
No.
All right.
All right.
Let's get after
for
it.
our tropes, our wounded main character, dark past or dark secrets. He falls first and found family. So Wendi has created a modern world where monsters and humans live side by side, but they maintain a separation, not because of biases, but because of like inherent genetic and natural differences between them.
Yeah.
So there's not like a lot of interspecies marriage, human and monster marriage, but it's not for any particular reason other than like, well, they can't make babies and they don't act like us.
Yeah.
And it's hard to find that center, that middle ground.
Yeah. I love you, but my penis is larger than your entire body.
Exactly. So for this book, we start with our prologue. Our prologue is from the point of view of our MMC. His name is Kaus, spelled like chaos, pronounced Kaus.
Okay.
He is 33 years old, and he is a Cthulhu. In this world, a Cthulhu is a species,
All
not
right.
an individual. The Cthulhu, as you would think of him, as the Eldritch Horror, is in this book as their deity. They call him the Great Dread.
Okay.
Kaus is massive. I think he clocks in at like 7 feet tall. He is smooth, green, and hairless. He's bald. He has bright yellow eyes. They're sometimes described as glowing, but I don't know if they actually glow or if they're just really bright yellow.
Mm-hmm.
And his face looks like the face of the Cthulhu on your arm. So he has the chin tentacles. They're called barbels or barbels. I don't know if you pronounce it with a longer E or not.
I'd go chinticles.
Chinticles. Yeah, well, he has chinticles. They're
Okay.
called barbels. He has a normal humanoid body, arms and legs. And while he walks around wearing clothes most of the time, they are all easy to remove because he prefers to be nude, because he prefers to be in the ocean.
Yeah.
He is venomous. He can secrete some kind of skin venom that'll paralyze any predator, so he can swim in deep water without worrying about anything bad happening to him. And they can also produce a couple of other like toxins for various things as well, including a mating venom, which isn't a thing that we've ever had, I think, on the show before.
No.
But in this case, the mating venom is something that is injected during intercourse to increase her pleasure.
Oh.
And I think it's to increase her pleasure and ensure impregnation or something. But mostly it's about like you get the mating venom in you and then you come really hard.
Oh. How convenient.
How convenient indeed.
Gotta get me some Cthulhu mating
This
venom.
is why I love the Monster Fucker books. They just do away with all the difficult stuff like having to reach orgasm. They just invented a way to give you one.
Right.
Bam.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Too easy.
Too easy. So normally in a book like this, I would wait to explain the MMC's dick business until we got to some fucking.
Yeah.
But this book's a little different, and I need to describe his dick to you now because it's a major component of the story. So, Kaus's dick, which we will refer to as his cotillo, or cotillo, not cotillo, there's only one L, his cotillo, because it's what they call it in the book, is a tentacle.
Okay.
He calls it his mating arm. It's a tentacle. It is the same color as the rest of his skin at the base, which is a very dark teal, and then it ombres itself up to a light neon green to a bright yellow at the very tip.
Huh.
It's got suction cups underneath it for texture. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
The mating venom is delivered via stinging fronds that come out of the tip of it.
No.
Those are orange.
I don't like that.
It has large suction cups at the base of it, which act as a knot, like a reverse knot.
No.
They suction on
God.
to the inside.
Oh.
And
I hate it.
No. It is fully detachable.
No. Oh. Kaus was a member of long-standing New York art rock band King Missile with their famous Bizarro hit Detachable Penis.
Oh.
It was actually a thing. There was a song called Detachable Penis by a band
Wonderful.
called King
Well,
Missile.
Cthulhus has a detachable penis.
Well, King Missile, thanks a fucking lot for putting that out there.
Yeah. Okay. So now that I've described all of the physical things that we need to know about Cthulhus, for the most part, he is also a doctor. He is a medical researcher, and his focus is on finding a cure for the annual spawning instinct that happens in all Cthulhu, which he finds to be both barbaric and awful. At the beginning of the book, in the prologue, it is the beginning of spawning season, and he is experiencing spawning day. He can tell because he is desperately horny and in terrible pain.
Mm-hmm.
So he wakes up, he jacks off like 7 times on the way out the front door just to get to the water. And he is going to the spawning, which is a thing that happens on the Dread Island, which is like their home island, every single year. They have to go there. It's a biological imperative. They follow some kind of instinctual call that is beyond them, and they can't help it. He dives into the water and swims like 1,000 miles to the Dread Island, gets up on shore, and he is in the middle of the spawning. So the spawning is a massive orgy of mating couples on this island.
Okay.
They follow this intense, like I said, it's an instinctual urge to mate once a year. It's the only time that the females have viable eggs and the males have viable sperm. They are all fucking on this island. The problem that Cthulhus has, and the problem that a lot of Cthulhu have with this, is that even if they don't want to, they're going to this. Cthulhus is not at all interested in having sex right now, like with any of these people, but he is going to because he has to.
Yeah.
So what he does is he goes immediately to the beach to find his friend Tula, who they help each other through this every year. She is a lesbian in a marriage with a Gorgon. She doesn't want to be here, but she has to be here. The problem that Cthulhus has with this, and the problem with that Cthulhu who have a problem with this is that even if she says no, and even if he wants to honor her no, their bodies won't do that. Mm-hmm. So he feels like a rapist. He doesn't want this for the future of Cthulhu. He thinks that he can fix this with modern medical science. But in the meantime, he still has to deal with this. And so what he and Tula do is every year they meet up, they manage what they have to do, and they get on with their lives. After the spawning, the females then swim out into open water. They, I believe, lay fertilized eggs. Those hatch. The offspring swim to shore, and then they are raised by whoever finds them. That's Cthulhu culture. They are raised in foster homes. In the olden days, apparently, they used to be raised communally by the Cthulhu when they came back to land, but now they come to shore and the foster agencies find somebody to take them in. Cthulhus is now, because he's also a philanthropist, working on developing programs to help with this.
Yeah. You would have to.
Yeah.
I mean, this whole thing just seems inconvenient. Like the first thing I thought of was like, you got to save up PTO just to go do this thing you don't want to fucking do.
Oh, I know. Like, yeah. You have to take a whole Saturday.
Yeah.
A whole Saturday to go to the orgy on Dread Island.
If it's on a Saturday.
Well, fuck.
Nobody knows when it's going to be.
Yeah. And if you don't go, you die. So you have to go.
I got to go to this fucking thing.
Yeah. So he meets Tula on the spawning beach, and she takes him to this secluded cave where her wife, the Gorgon Many, is waiting for them. Tula is like, I couldn't do this again without my wife. Mm-hmm. And while she's like, yeah, you're a fine specimen, she's a Gorgon, and all Gorgon are lesbians, so she's not like interested in having sex with him. She'll be there, and she'll be a part of this experience to make things easier on Tula. And then Cthulhus says, you know what? Why don't we just eliminate me from the equation altogether? I don't know what'll happen, but let's try this. He just takes his dick off and gives it to Many. The Cthulhu. So the thing about it is that it has a brain of its own. So like as soon as he takes it off his body, it starts wiggling toward the Cthulhu female. It's like it wants to fuck. Oh, I know, this shit is insane. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to calm down before I lose my mind. It is a semi-parasitic organ. So when you attach it to a body, in order to do its business and make you think that you're still getting your business in, it connects with your nervous system and you feel pleasure from it. So she attaches his Cthulhu right to her like a strap-on. Wow. And fucks her wife, and he just stands guard outside the door because he doesn't have anything to do with this. And he is very happy to find that once he removes his Cthulhu, he doesn't feel the mating urge nearly as badly as he used to. And so he can manage all of this until they're finally done. And when he puts it back on his body, he like collapses because it delivers all of that information to his big brain all at once. Just not like the. It's not like he fucked Tula, but it is all the pleasure sensations all at once inside of his brain. So he just sort of passes out for a second. But he's fine now.
This is the literal, like, people say, oh, yeah, like, it has a mind of its own.
Yeah.
His dick literally does have a mind of its own.
They do. Okay, so this is, so you remember how we were sitting outside the other day? And I started laughing hysterically, and I couldn't stop, and I almost popped some stitches. Yeah. And it hurt really bad. So this is why I was laughing. So while this was all happening and we were learning about the detachable dick situation, Kaus was explaining to the reader that the reason for this is that the old way that the spawning used to work was that the males would just fight each other to see who got to fuck. And whoever couldn't get, like, you either died in battle or you were so injured that you couldn't keep fighting, you took your dick off and you just threw it into the pile so it could attach to somebody, and hopefully your line would continue on even though you couldn't be part of it. And I laughed so hard thinking of a giant writhing pile of Cthulhu with just extra dicks. Just extra dicks just crawling all over, and I just couldn't stop laughing. I know I'm doing it again, and you're looking at me like you want a divorce.
No, listener, she is wrong. I'm not looking at her like I want a divorce. I have a look on my face, probably similar to the look you have on your face, hearing the exact same words that I'm hearing right now.
The gleeful tone with which they are delivered. Because I have an appreciation for this shit.
I'm never gonna. I can't eat several kinds of seafood anymore. Just hearing that. Calamari's off the table.
Octopus is delicious. You cannot pry that from my cold dead hands.
Octopus is off the table. No, you can have it. You can and you can eat it. Yep. At a different table.
Oh.
Where I cannot see.
Okay.
Eating it.
Okay. That's fine.
Mein Gott.
Once all of this is finished, Kaus is even more motivated to find the cure so that he does not have to go through this again. He feels so close he can taste it. There's just he's just missing something, but he's not sure what, but he'll figure it out. And he works for an entire year trying to figure it out, and he doesn't quite get there. And then the spawning is coming up again. But this year is the year he promised himself, no matter what, whether he had found the cure or not, he wasn't going to be alone anymore. It's time for him to start trying to find a mate. And that's the end of the prologue. We move into the beginning of the book. Our FMC, her name is Maria. She is curvy Latina. She has tan skin. She has dark hair, dark eyes. She is incredibly smart and very driven. She is a marine biologist. She is working at Pepperdine University via a grant from the California government to investigate marine reproductive cycles in conjunction with bioluminescent organisms. She's very, very smart.
So I hear.
Yes. In the introduction of this book, she is getting margaritas and Mexican with her best friend, Callie. They got margaritas and Mexican 3 times in this book. I didn't get margaritas and Mexican once. I'm disappointed still.
Well, your food options have been rather limited the last week.
I know. But I do want margaritas and Mexican food really bad. So she and Callie are just hanging out, having lunch. And in this scene, Callie convinces her to go to a monster speed dating event in the hopes that they can hunt for monster cock. Straight up, we're not there's no subtext. They want to get fucked by big monster dicks, so they're going to the monster speed dating event. Before that, though, she goes out night tide pooling, which is just tide pooling, but at night. So she puts on her wetsuit and she goes down to the coast, takes pictures, does readings, takes like data logs, all that stuff. Like I said, she's studying bioluminescence, so she goes out at night a lot. While she is out doing this, she wades into deeper water to like this outcropping of rock that's hanging over the edge of a deeper part of the sea floor. And while she is looking at the rocks, she finds what she thinks is a 2-ringed octopus tentacle that's just sort of like curling out from underneath one of these rocks.
Oh no.
So she just starts looking at it. It's like extending out and like it's like trying to make contact with her. She thinks this is not the first time an octopus has done this to a human. Sometimes cephalopods in the wild will actually like try to hang with people. So she thinks this is normal. She reaches out, she touches it. She starts stroking it. She starts like petting it. She reaches further down to like try and see if she can pull the whole octopus out from underneath, but it's like bigger than any octopus tentacle she would expect for a 2-ring octopus. I don't know how big a 2-ring octopus is, but apparently this one's too big. And she reaches all the way down under the rock and she reaches what she is thinking is going to be squishy octopus like body, but instead it is a wall of like hard flesh. And she starts pulling back, but it grabs onto her. And so she starts singing to it to calm it down. Yeah.
That's your first instinct?
Yeah. That's what I said too. I was like, yeah, sure. The octopus is grabbing you and pulling you toward it. Sing it a song.
Never gonna give you up.
I think it was a lullaby, but
I panicked.
All around me. So the singing
I don't want anybody else. Sorry. Okay, I'm done.
The singing is what finally wakes Kaus up from his nap that he is having. Like he just went for a swim, went to underneath this outcropping, dug his toes under the rocks, and took a nap.
And someone grabbed his dick.
And somebody grabbed his dick.
Just his dick's just again got a mind of its own.
Just flapping, but it did. It sought her out.
Yeah.
And it crawled up and tried to get her attention.
Yeah, it did.
And so she's still holding his tentacle dick in her hand.
Yeah.
He rises out of the ocean, a 7-foot tall Cthulhu, and she's still holding his dick, and she can't
singing her heart out.
Yeah, and she can't let go. And she just keeps on stroking it and stroking it. Now, I think maybe I didn't quite understand what happened. That he has some amount of like mating venom in the secretions.
I was gonna say like she like maybe
and just
caught
by touching
a barb or secretion.
Yeah, just by touching it, she got herself a little horned up. I don't know, but either way, so she jacks him off until those fronds come out of his dick and like poke her in the finger. And when he comes, by the way, his cum is purple, so that's fun. That's fun. I pictured it being the same color as an ink that my friend Murph sent me the other day that they want for their birthday. It was like a dark shimmery purple. That's what I imagine Kaus's cum looks like. So she has been stabbed in the thumb by the mating venom. He just came all over her hand, and she's terrified because she thinks that she's done something wrong because she just jacked off a Cthulhu in the dark.
You didn't do it. You didn't do anything wrong, but you did something that not a lot of people have probably done.
You made a choice.
Yeah.
You made a choice.
That's why you don't go sticking your hands in tide pools.
Yeah. She pulls away from him. He tries to follow her. He offers to make her come as well to return the favor, but she runs toward the public beach. He's too nude to go to the public beach with his big tentacle dick out, so he has to stay behind.
And to Cthulhu.
Well, no, they would know he's a Cthulhu.
I know,
at the public beach.
But still, it's going to cause a scene.
I mean, it might cause a scene if he just like wanders out of the water. I don't know. Or maybe he's been there for 2 hours sunbathing.
Yeah, who knows?
People,
yeah, you're right. Plus, they said, people coexist. It might not be that
coexist.
surprising.
Yeah, it wouldn't be surprising. It would just be shocking to see his dick.
Yeah.
To see his dick out. So because she got stung in the thumb by his mating fronds, she spends the entire night having the horniest dreams of her life and like writhing through the mating venom.
Mm-hmm.
Poor child. The next night is speed dating. She isn't having a particularly good time at the speed dating, but she's doing her best. She muses about like wanting to find someone who is scientifically minded and understands her need to dig deep into her work and solve the puzzles that are the universe. And like, she loves her friends and family, but nobody understands her deep love of like things that have Latin names. And like, it's hard for her. And that's right about the time that Kaus arrives at her table, because he's also at this event. Coincidentally, he didn't like stalk her here. He's just also at this event, and her entire world goes sideways. Like, she's very attracted to him, but also she is incredibly embarrassed because the guy she jacked off on the beach last night just showed up at the speed dating event.
The guy she assaulted, quite frankly.
Yeah, well, she says that to him at some point a little bit later in the book, that she sexually assaulted him. But he's immediately laying on the charm, very thick. He's very flirtatious. He's very suave. He's handsome, the whole deal. And her horn is immediately very real. Like, she wants this man until he starts getting kind of aggressive with another monster who wants his turn at the speed dating table with her. Kaus declares that she is his mate, and she's like, I'm your what now? You can't just say that. And he's like, no, come talk to me. Come talk to me. So they go out and they talk in the lobby of this place. Kaus wants her to be his mate. He has chosen her as his intended mate. Now, as a Cthulhu, apparently that means that he is going to be single-mindedly motivated in courting and wooing her. He won't be a creep about it. And if she actually says stop, he will stop. But he's going to like send her flowers, take her places, like whatever she wants or needs. He'll follow her to the ends of the earth. Like, that's how it works with Cthulhu. All right. So she's like, okay, why don't we start with dinner? We can do dinner. And he's like, yeah, let me please take you to dinner. They have a cute little flirt. Then she's like, I have to go pee, so let me go to the bathroom. I'll clean up and grab my bag and let my friend know that I'm leaving. And then she walks straight through the other side of the hotel, gets in a taxi, and goes home because he's a little too intense for her, and she's leaving.
Wow.
But Kaus is fine with that. He isn't deterred. Like I said, he has chosen her. Mm-hmm. And this is culturally, like, for him now, this just means that he just needs to figure out what to do next.
All right.
He decides to go clear his head, go for a swim. He, I believe, grabs a shark fin and like hitches a ride on the back of a shark, like Marty McFly at the beginning of Back to the Future.
Just sketching on a shark.
Yeah, sketching on a shark. And until he's down in deep water. And then he finds an adolescent Cthulhu in the water, and he swims over to her to speak to her. What are you doing out here by yourself? She's like 11 or 12, so she's pretty young still. You should be with your foster family. What are you doing? And she says, I came out here to try and find my real parents because the kids at school were making fun of me, saying that my parents didn't want me. And he has to explain to her, because nobody has, that's not how our culture works. I didn't know who my parents were either. I know it's weird and not the normal thing, but this is how we live our lives. And you sound like you have, like, she tells him about her foster parents. He said, you sound like you have fantastic foster parents who love you and miss you, so you need to go home. So he takes her home to the beach. He meets their parents. He gives them his phone number so that he can help again if he needs to. Mm-hmm. And in exchange, he's like, hey, what do human women like? And the human of the couple says, I've found that all women like flowers. So why don't we start with that? So then Kaus has 20 giant bouquets of flowers sent to her lab at Pepperdine University, each one with a single note card with a single word on it that she has to piece together to solve a puzzle, in the solving which is an invitation to go night tide pooling at his private beach that night. And she's like waffling back and forth. Should I do this? Should I not do this? She's freaking out about it. She's got a bunch of, we get very small little pieces of her tragic backstory, trademark, throughout the book. And this is where we first start getting it. She's terrified of relationships, but her assistant or lab assistant, someone who she's close with at Pepperdine, is like, this man sent you 20 bouquets. Maybe go to his house and see how you feel. So she decides she is going to go because she is so horny, she's having so many horny dreams about this man all the time that she can't function. Like, the masturbation isn't helping anymore. The bullet isn't working anymore. So she's going to go. But she decides she's just going to go in her wetsuit. She's not going to worry about looking fancy. They're going to go tide pooling. She's going in her wetsuit. But that doesn't stop him from smelling her arousal when she arrives. Are you kidding?
Of course.
It's been weeks.
It's been a long time.
It's been months.
Yeah.
Since somebody has smelled somebody else's pussy from a mile away on this fucking show. And
I gotta think, Birch by the Krampus, maybe further back.
I don't know. I don't think he smelled anything. I can't remember.
It's got to be October.
Well, yeah, for sure.
There's had to have been something.
Spooky Smuttober.
Spooky Smuttober. There was definitely some.
But this one. But now this one,
of course,
this one. It's only one line, but I read it and it was immediately like Vietnam War flashbacks. He smelled the arousal on her. They decide to. He decides to take her out on a rowboat so they can go farther out to show her something. Oh, also before they leave, he takes his dick off and locks it in a drawer so he can't make any dumb choices, which I think is great.
Oh God, if I'd have had that from the ages of 16 to 30.
Yes. The whole time I was thinking, man, life would be so great if people could take their dicks off so they didn't make dick-based choices.
I would.
When they should be making brain-based choices.
Seriously, I would never leave the house with that thing.
Oh, yeah. You just keep it in like a box for special occasions.
Yeah.
Just bring it down for like Easter and Christmas.
Yep. Up in the closet. Fancy ornate locked box.
On display in a china cabinet.
Right.
Like my aunt,
little turntable.
Like my great aunt Patty's fine china.
Just a nice little turntable in there constantly spinning.
Yep. It's like one of
dick.
those little,
little flaccid dick.
It's just your dick just hanging out.
Yep. On a platter.
Ugh.
Nice lighting. You got to keep it in there so you don't have to dust it all the time.
Yeah. It's like humidified space.
Yeah, put it in a humidor.
Oh my God. Okay. So Cows puts his dick in a drawer and locks it.
Amateur.
And then he takes her out on a rowboat and they have a conversation. They flirt, they talk. It's very, very cute. He lays it on so thick, but she is just like basking in the joy of his earnest and sincere compliments, because it's more of her tragic backstory. TM. She had like terrible parents and has horrible self-esteem because she was never good enough, all that stuff. And he gives one of many deep, inspiring speeches that he will give to her about the importance of loving herself because she is beautiful inside and out. Like, it's like this book was emotional whiplash, okay? Because it was like flirting, the dick comes off, you are perfect just the way you are, let's fuck now. Like, it was just back and forth and back and forth.
He's gonna be filling some physical and emotional holes.
Yes, absolutely, yes. So at the end of all of this, he tells her, this is where she says, like, you shouldn't even like me. I sexually assaulted you on the beach.
Again, totally cool.
And he says, I have never come harder in my entire life than when you sexually assaulted me on the beach. Do it again. And all he wants to do now is return the favor. And she is down. She is down for that. So he cuts the crotch out of her wetsuit with one of his claws. That he just cuts the crotch out of her wetsuit. And
is he going to use one of his chinticles?
Not yet. But in some of these, there is some wonders of Cthulhu anatomy here. He can grow suction cups anywhere on his body anytime he wants at will.
God, I picked a bad day to have my hearing.
Hearing. I picked a bad day to have my hearing.
I picked a bad day to understand the English language.
So he can grow like just one perfect little suction cup on the tip of his finger just to make the clitoral stimulation that much more. Yeah, it's very very interesting. It's very entertaining. So he he basically just fingers her to multiple orgasms in this boat. The next day, Maria gets lunch with Callie again. They catch up. There are more hints at Maria's tragic backstory, TM. And at the end of the lunch, Callie encourages Maria to ask Chaos on a date with an elaborate puzzle, the same way he did for her. Now they're two scientists in love, and they have to do like elaborate, silly puzzles for each other, which is just delightful and beyond wonderful for me. So she sends him a 3D puzzle, inviting him to a picnic at a local Hindu temple where they enjoy lunch. She tries to seduce him into having sex right there, but he wants to take it slow. He is very worried about the mating frenzy. And also, he left his dick at home. He doesn't tell her that part, but he did leave his dick at home, so he can't have sex with her right now. She is frustrated in the horniness of all of this, but like Chaos has put the brakes on. So what you gonna do? Eventually, he invites her to visit his labs, Eldritch Labs.
Of course.
Yep. Is a medical research institute where they make advancements for monsters who have elements of their nature that they would prefer to suppress or may need to be managed. He has it's a very high-tech facility. She is super excited to play with the autoclave demulsifier, which is not... Wendi, I appreciate you very much for trying, but that's not a thing. An autoclave demulsifier is not a thing. At least I don't think it is. Cause,
I was going to say, you sound awful confident for...
Well, no, because an autoclave is a machine that sanitizes metal parts with heat.
Yeah.
A demulsifier is a chemical agent that demulsifies emulsions. So an autoclave demulsifier, I don't think, is a thing that you can play with.
Can now.
Maybe.
That is where you draw the line. Not the weird detachable dick with the suction cup knot and all the...
That's normal. That's normal in this world. That's normal in this world. An autoclave demulsifier does not exist anywhere.
Wendi, I'm so sorry about my wife.
I am on one today, and apparently I'm drawing weird lines in the sand. So strap in, kids. While she is distracted with her nerdy stuff, he takes the opportunity to sneak into his office to once again remove his Cthulhu so that he doesn't make bad decisions with it. He has gotten her a gift. He's gotten her a snow globe that he put inside a box, but he decides to take the snow globe out of the box and put his dick in the box and tape the box shut. Once his Cthulhu is firmly secured inside of a locked box, he goes back out to the lab where he promptly hoists her up onto a lab table and eats her out. And that's when he fucks her with the barbells.
All right, I guess that makes sense.
So there's some alternative, like there's licking and fucking with the barbells, and he can like grow the suction cups. So he grows suction cups on his tongue. And then at one point he makes some indication about like playing with her back entrance with her ass. And she is like, the only other person who ever did that to me hurt me. And he's like, time out. We're not continuing. No, You just brought up a trauma. But she wants to continue. She says she'll talk about it later. So they keep going. And then eventually she's like, you know what? I think I trust you enough. So then he is tentacles and ass, tentacles and pussy, eating her out. It's amazing. Fucking amazing. Dude, the scenes in this book were so good. So when she comes down from this orgasm, reaches down to return the favor and finds that he is not hard in his pants, and she immediately, like, her assumption is that he came in his pants. And she's cool with that because she thinks it's hot that he like couldn't even hold it together. So he decides to let her think that because he still doesn't know how to explain my dick comes off to her. Like, he could just say it.
My dick fell off.
My dick fell off.
That's what I would.
My dick fell off. You would too. You would quote a Vine if that ever. Yeah. So instead, he just lets her think that he came in his pants, and that's fine.
It's a real power move on his part.
It really is. He doesn't care that she knows that. Because again, she said she thinks it's hot. So what does he care? So he cleans her up. He settles her in to talk about her past, and this is where she starts giving all of us her tragic backstory. TM. So she grew up in a hyper-religious Catholic household. The fact that she was very intelligent and a woman didn't sit well with most people to begin with. And then she started asking a lot of questions. And then she became very interested in sex and sexuality. But because the church is so fucked up about that, she just decided to try and figure it out on her own. She started dating a boy from the church named Juan Carlos. They started fooling around in like a closet at the church, which is a very common story for kids that I know personally who were church kids. They all lost their virginity in the church, except that to maintain her hymen for reasons unknown, he says that they have to only have anal sex.
Oh, of course.
Of course. And he was never patient about it. He was never good about it. He hurt her. She cried. He didn't seem to care. They continued to do it. And she reasoned to herself that because she loved him in all of these other ways, that this one bad thing she could deal with. And then she started arguing with him about it, saying, well, if we're already going to be married anyway, then what does it matter if we have sex before marriage? And he wouldn't let her, until eventually she decided to take charge and do it herself. She put a chair in their usual fucking closet so that when they went in there, she forced him to sit down. She gave him a blowjob. And as soon as he was ready to pop, she sat on him. She realizes now as an adult that she made a bad choice. Like, that is also an assault. And she knows that, and she feels really ashamed about that. But Kaus does tell her, like, yeah, but you were like 17.
Yeah.
You were very innocent. You were not informed. But she still feels really bad about it. Either way, she's sobbing. She says something even worse happened after that, but she can't talk anymore tonight. And she'll tell him when she can. He can't even think of what could possibly be worse than what she just explained to him.
No.
But apparently there's more. After all of this, he praises her, tells her she did a fantastic job, both with the barbell sex and with the being emotionally vulnerable with him.
I got to imagine that if you're a monster fucking humans, your aftercare game has to be on point.
Seriously. Straight up. You are absolutely correct. All of that was real weird, and you did great, baby girl. Yeah. Boy, baby. Yeah. So then he sends her to the office to get her gift, but his phone rings while he is writing the desk, I think, from the fucking. It is Tula, her wife, Manny, is pregnant now, and there's something wrong. And he is a doctor, and she wants him to come to their house. So he's like, I gotta go. There's your prezi. I love you. Goodbye. She takes the box, thinking it's a present, and goes home.
Oh.
Yeah. So for the rest of the book bounces back and forth between what is an incredibly funny, absurd situation and an incredibly serious, sad situation. So, starting with the sad stuff, Kaus goes to Tula's house, where there are already a bunch of Gorgons sitting in mourning because Tula's twin sister accidentally turned her wife into stone recently in their sleep.
Oh, no.
And then, or not Tula, I'm sorry, Manny's twin sister, Galana.
Yeah.
Accidentally turned her wife to stone in her sleep. And now Manny, who is pregnant with her own baby, so that's the way that Gorgon, the way that Gorgon reproduce is their hair snakes contain all of the genetic material that they need to reproduce. So they reproduce themselves. They basically make clones of themselves.
Okay.
So all Gorgon are female and all Gorgon are lesbians. It's the culture of Sapphism. Which is awesome. There are very few male Gorgon, if any. I think they're all female. The problem is that Manny's egg is rotting inside of her. She's very, very sick, and they can't figure out why. And they only have some like old anecdotal evidence of this ever happening in the past. The Gorgon doctor can't figure out what to do, so they called him because he's a Cthulhu doctor. So maybe a Cthulhu doctor can figure it out. And he realizes that what has likely happened is Cthulhu have a minor toxin in their body that heightens when they are ill. Tula got sick. Manny nursed her back to health. Even though the toxins should have left her system, they didn't. They were absorbed by her hair snakes. So when she reproduced with herself, she unknowingly, intoxicated is the wrong word, poisoned her own egg. She unknowingly poisoned her own egg. So he thinks that he can fix this situation. And he's going to fix the situation, and he does so by having her go through he calls for an emergency C-section. They remove the egg, they take it to Eldritch Labs. He injects it with Cthulhu antivenom, which is the thing they already have plenty of. Yeah. And now it is in an incubator. He and the Gorgon doctor are going to watch over this egg, and hopefully all will be well. In the meantime,
I was going to say, there's got to be a wild shift here.
In the meantime, Maria calls Callie
oh God,
because the box is moving and she doesn't know what the fuck it is. So she opens it while she's on the phone with Callie. They think that this is a highly advanced animatronic Cthulhu dildo that he got for her because he's asking to go slow. So he got her a different dick instead to be like nice.
Cthulhu Clone-A-Willy?
Yeah, a Cthulhu Clone-A-Willy. But it's like, it moves. It's fully animatronic and like self-lubricating. She thinks this is advanced eldritch tech. It's not. It's just a dick in a box. They assume that this is fake. Callie's like, go fuck that thing a bunch of times. Don't be afraid to take pictures and video.
They must be close.
They are very close. Don't come out of your room until you can't walk anymore, basically. We flip back
to the tragedy.
That is also currently happening. The next day, while Kaus is taking care of the egg, he hasn't even thought about his dick in the box one time. He has talked to Maria and had her go over to Tula and Manny's house to help in any way that she can because she's just empathetic and wants to help. And he is taking care of the egg. Every time he goes to check on his dick, something distracts him until eventually he gets a call from Maria and she's all flirty and like, I really liked my present. And he's like, what did you do? Like, oh, I'm really glad you liked it. And she's like, I've never come so hard in my life. Fantastic. Now he just thinks he thinks she just used her snow globe as a tool. He has no fucking clue what he's in for. She's like, I've got video. You want to see it? Yes, absolutely. I want to see it. He goes upstairs. He watches. They have like a whole resting floor. He goes upstairs to a private room. He watches this video that she has of her. So the Cthulhu attaches right to her palm. And she fucks herself with this thing on camera. And he thinks that this is an advanced animatronic Cthulhu because it has not occurred to him that she took home his dick in a box. Like, it is insane. This entire situation is fucking bananas. But eventually, once like the fronds come out and the purple cum starts happening, he realizes, oh no, that's mine. That's my dick. Oh no. And because we're this close to spawning season, I'm actually fertile right now. There's a very good chance I could have just made her pregnant and I wasn't even in the room.
And where's the fun in that?
The idea that he knocked her up and he wasn't even there for it, I almost pissed myself. It was so funny to me for some reason. I don't know why. Maria is over at Tula and Manny's house helping. Kaus immediately gets in his car to go over there to start damage control with the whole, that was my actual dick and I think I might have knocked you up with it.
So I got you some Cthulhu Plan B.
Right? God, I wish. Flip back to Maria's perspective. She's now deep in the shit of the tragedy and it's only going to get worse because we're going to get the rest of her tragic backstory, TM. So she goes to speak with Manny, who is freaking out because her baby is suddenly not inside her body anymore. It's like, the NICU feelings are real and strong. And Manny's like, I know you probably can't, really understand what's happening. And Maria's like, no, I really understand what's happening because the worst thing that could have happened to her in that one attempt to have real vaginal sex with Juan Carlos, she got pregnant.
Of course
she did. And because she was in an extremely hyper-religious Catholic family, they forced her to keep that baby. Juan Carlos and his family washed their hands of the situation. They didn't want anything to do with it. Of course.
He was blameless.
No, he was a promising young man. He couldn't be held down by, whatever. Blah, 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 blah. They forced her to have this baby. She was forced to labor without pain medication as punishment for her own sins. And then as soon as the baby was born, it was taken from her. And once I was done sobbing uncontrollably at the thought and I kept reading. So Manny is a children and family lawyer apparently, and because she is so fired up about this story that she just heard, she's like, I'm going to fix this for you and I'm going to fix it for free. So like, you were 18 when you had that baby, right? They couldn't just take it from you. Mm-hmm. We're going to figure this all out. And then Tula comes back in and they explain the whole situation to Tula. And then they're like, now we just have to figure out the spawning thing, and then everything will be fine. Everything's going to be okay because Cthulhus is going to figure out the spawning. Maria's like, yeah, he hasn't really told me all about the spawning yet. So they tell her about the spawning. So when Cthulhus arrives, they are all sitting in a huddle of like feminine rage and tears.
Yeah, he's walking into a fucking minefield.
Yes. And he's like, I am so sorry, because he somehow thinks that this is his fault. So this is the thing that I really got upset with when it first happened. Like when I read it, he walked into the room of a woman who had just went through an incredible birth trauma, her wife, and a woman who is incredibly empathetic. This is a space of feminine pain. They're sobbing, and he went, oh no, I did it. It's me. It's my fault. I did this. That was his first thought. Suck a dick, cow. Suck a dick.
Well, he had no idea.
He had no idea, but I don't feel like you can walk into the bedroom of a woman who very recently almost lost her baby and is crying and think it's somehow about you. I just don't.
Well, were they all three crying?
They were all three crying.
Okay.
But still, saying.
All he knows is that he might have accidentally impregnated somebody because he did not explain his dick to her.
Yeah.
Show Cthulhus a little sympathy is all I'm saying.
Fine. Okay, fine. Sure. So she's like, what are you even talking about? This has nothing to do with you. And he's like, oh, what's it about then? And she's like, no. Why are you so upset? And so he explains it to her. You might be pregnant. Not knowing her past pregnancy story yet, he freaks out when she just stands up and walks to the bathroom. She's like, I can't do this. Like right now, this is the worst time to get this information. He is like, oh fuck, I think I just lost her. He really thinks that he just lost this woman completely. And so Tula follows Maria into the bathroom, and Manny explains the rest of the situation to Cthulhus. Tula gives another absolutely beautiful, wonderful, fantastic speech about feelings and the importance of, like understanding your differences, but finding love in the spaces in between and all this. They're very good at motivational speeches, these people. They do a really good job. Once all that is said and done, the emotions come down. Maria goes out, explains all of her feelings to Cthulhus. Cthulhus explains everything else to Maria. Everybody's on the same page. They're all feeling great about all of it. And then the Gorgon doctor calls and says, the egg is improving. Hooray. So they're going to go immediately over to Eldritch. Tula, Maria, and Cthulhus all go over to Eldritch to check on the egg. While they're there, Cthulhus is like, do you want me to check on your blood to see if you're pregnant? She decides eventually no. What they should do is focus on the egg, making sure that that's okay. And then she's going to lend a hand in focusing on the cure, because she's also a scientist. So she thinks maybe she can help figure it out. Mm-hmm. Before they do any of that, though, first the fucking must occur, because they have to have more sex. So they go back to her house. But Cthulhus does not want to have penis and vagina sex, because if she isn't pregnant, there is no way she won't be pregnant if they do it a second time.
Okay.
So he suggests she wear his Cthulhu instead. And this becomes a pegging scene.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
you
did
mention that. Yes.
Yeah, so this is a pegging scene. This is absolutely fantastic. Did I put pegging in the? Did I say?
Did.
Okay, cool. I put pegging in the TWs. So the way the Cthulhu works, like I said, you suction it on. Yep. You can feel it. So it does that like cuckoo bird thing. Makes your brain think that you're still it's great. So she fucks Cthulhus instead. And it is fantastic and wonderful. Like all this Cthulhu magic dick shit is great. Like she is on board for all of it. And Cthulhus is really enjoying it as well. But he wants to see her face when she comes, and he doesn't. Like she's behind him right now. So he says, "Here's what we're gonna do. You pop the dick off. It stays inside him. Just pop it off. Pop it off." He has to reach back and just like.
It's a little tricky sometimes. You kind of gotta.
It's a little sticky.
Yeah.
And he flips over on his back and suggests that she ride him on the spot where his Cthulhu would be attached, which is now like a soft and spongy. It's very pleasurable for him to touch it, but it's not as intense. She describes it as feeling very similar to scissoring. Oh. So it's a lot like vulva in terms of like softness and feel.
All right.
So she rides that spot
His cavulva.
His cavulva. It has a name. I didn't write it down, but it has like an anatomical name, he calls it, until they both come. And this scene was like delightfully new, unique, fantastic, and original because of the break off dick thing. Yes, but like I really enjoyed it because it was so original.
Yeah, no, and because like. And he's getting pleasure from this, but he's not like deriving pleasure. It's not like he's literally fucking himself. I mean, he is, but he's not feeling the sensation of fucking himself because it's not attached to him.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you thought trying to make your hand fall asleep and jerk off was the
yeah.
stranger. Oh, no.
No, but he ends up like he comes inside his own ass. That's fucking crazy, man. That's wild. I love that. That's so cool. So they have this fantastic sex. They all come in like glorious Technicolor. It's so great. In the afterglow, Maria tells Chaos that she loves him for the first time. And that is when we learn that the Cthulhu has the brain inside the Cthulhu has an automatic reaction to hearing those words. So every time she says it, it twitches inside his ass. So she says it like 10 times in a row. And I think that's funny because it's bratty behavior. And she is a brat throughout this book. It's very funny. It's exactly what I would do. It starts twitching inside there. Yeah, I'm going to make it twitch a few more times to make you make the funny noise. So the last 2 chapters, we're wrapping up all of the plot lines. So Many's daughter is born safe and healthy. They name her Ophelia. Both Maria and Callie are named honorary aunties. Callie got in with the group as well.
Oh,
by
good.
the way, at some point, I skipped over that because I was trying to cover a lot of territory. But when they all met up at Eldritch again at the end, Callie was there too. And so she got in with Tula and Many, and now they're this whole found family of badass women. I love them very much. So by combining their understanding of marine mating, bioluminescent algae, and Cthulhu spawning, and all that stuff, all of the science, Kaus and Maria successfully create a serum that prevents the spawning urge, effectively rescuing Cthulhu from their own baser natures, which he is... Okay, fucking, is there a Cthulhu Nobel Peace Prize? Because this man just like changed the world.
Right.
Good for you, Kaus. Good for you. And finally, after weeks of forgetting and being too distracted thinking about all the other work they are doing, Kaus finally picks up one of the many positive pregnancy tests that Maria has been lying around the lab in the last few days. He is ecstatic. She is pregnant. They're going to have a little half Cthulhu.
Yeah.
Full Cthulhu? I don't know how that works. Is it like maybe his genes are really strong? But I guess we'll find out. So to celebrate, they go out to dinner. All of the found family are all together. While they are there, Maria and Many announce that they were able to track down Maria's son. He is happy and healthy, and they are leaving him exactly where he is because he's already stable with a family that loves him. And she is very happy to announce her new pregnancy. And they all celebrate together and lived hornily ever after. The end. That was Claimed by the Cthulhu. Thank you so much.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That was so much.
Yeah. And I don't even feel like I did a good job of telling that story. I really feel like that was a bad episode on my part, but it was a really, really good book.
No, it was fine. It was fantastic. It was so much. It was so much because you can just manifest suction cups on your
Yep.
Gross.
Yep. And you can pop your dick off.
Well,
pop it right off.
At least that's functional.
Yes. I know one of the other books, I think it's Bossed by the Bogart. He has like a shadow dick. So it can basically be whatever you want it to be. That sounds fun. I should read that one next.
It's like is it Janet Ivanovich that does like all the letters?
Oh, yeah.
This is way more interesting.
She did like one for the money.
Yeah.
2 for the
but I think there's somebody out there that does like it's.
Oh yeah, there was like a whole maybe it was Janet Ivanovich did a whole series of like M is for Murder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, maybe she did both.
X is for
do I know?
xanthan gum. I don't know.
X is for Xanax. Mommy took 3.
That's why you're better at writing than I am.
Yeah. I'm into writing. But what are you into?
Oh, wow.
Hey.
Wow.
Well, there was dead space. I felt like I had to do something about it.
Did not see that coming.
Mm-mm.
I didn't see most of this book coming. Oh, God.
You're welcome.
You threw me for a loop.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was thinking about this today. And I didn't know what I was going to be into. So I'm going to pause and think about it.
Okay.
And now that I've paused, but you don't know that because I edited it all out. Or maybe I left it in. I didn't leave it in because
no, God, no.
It would drive me insane. Actually, the thing that I was gonna take a page out of your book and just do sort of like a thing, and that is, I'm into working out.
Hell yeah.
I fucking love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, just do a thing, the thing that you're into.
I'm just super fucking into working out.
Good.
I don't know if you guys have seen me on TikTok. My handle is Muscle Pupper. It's a derivation of one of the many nicknames my wife has given me throughout the years, which is Muscle Puppy, because I am a 6'2", 200-pound golden retriever of a human being. I look scary until I open my mouth.
Yeah.
But I look scary because I love to lift weights, and it's something that I do primarily because I am trying to stave off death. I've got 2 little kids. I mean, I didn't start having kids until I was almost 40 years old. So I'm trying to stay healthy and active and alive for them. But as I've said many, many times before, it's kind of like spitting in God's eye, because you're like, hey, that's, several hundred pounds that's just sitting on the floor. I'm going to pick it up.
Yep. Fuck you, physics.
Fuck you, gravity.
Hey, I've been waging a war on gravity for years. Thank you for being part of the fight.
Hey, man, I'm happy to do it. And I just fucking love it. I mean, for all the other benefits, I like the way I look as a result of it. I like the way I feel as a result of it. But more than anything, it gives me a sense of something that I think is very important, which is a very strong mind-body connection.
Mm-hmm.
So I like being in tune with my body and being connected to my body and feeling like that I have some control over something, because it's very easy in this world, especially with the myriad of neurological issues that I have and mental health issues that I have. It feels nice to have one thing that I know I can control, and that is my ability to pick big fucking weights up.
Yep.
So that's what I'm into. What are you into?
I was thinking about this and I wrote it down, everything. I'm so prepared. So I am into niche tea. I told you about this the other day, I think. Right?
Yeah, you did.
There's a creator on TikTok. Her name, the account is Aerith Girl, and she does these 10-minute deep dive videos on drama in communities that you probably don't know anything about. And there's this thing happening on TikTok right now. I don't know if you probably didn't watch the Risa Tisa videos.
I did not.
But you may have heard of the Risa Tisa videos.
I vaguely.
So she did it was like a 52-part series of 10-minute videos. I watched it all day one day. It took an entire day of videos about the relationship we had with the relationship she had with this incredible narcissist. And it spawned this whole, I don't know if it's spawned it or if it's just like the pinnacle of this, like, of drama talk. It's like amateur drama reporters on TikTok. They'll just tell you into your phone. I fucking love it. I love it because it's harmless. It's like, it cannot hurt me. And most of the time, these people that she's calling out are people that need to be called out. So if they're hurt, good. Niche community like drama, but like she talks about she did a whole episode on the sort of well-known dramatic tragedy that is OhioCon, the OhioCon convention. It's a big problem. Like, I've heard about it from people because we're from Michigan. OhioCon is a thing that like people go to. She did a whole thing about the chess community, the professional chess community. She's done book talk stuff. She did a whole 10-minute video on just a special ink that was being released by a fountain pen company. I love her. She's great. She's so much fun, and she teaches me things about communities I don't know anything about. It is great. So that's what I'm into. I'm into niche tea.
It took me a second. I was like, oh, you mean like that time I took you to Tivana? Oh, no, you mean
no. I mean the creator or the series on TikTok, Niche Tea.
Well. Okay, then. I don't know.
And now we don't know how to transition out.
No. It's just this whole episode. I mean, there was. You folks aren't going to notice it, but like the dog was being crazy and he wanted to go outside. And we had to put him in his cage, and Katie was having coughing fits, and we were stopping and starting, and it all felt off. But that's okay, because I think we brought it back together, and I am confident that I edited this thing into yet another stellar episode.
Oh, yeah, another cheap smut banger.
Another cheap smut banger. But in the meantime, you can find us on social media. We are on Instagram and TikTok at Cheap Smut. If you would like to email us, you can do so, cheapsmutpod@gmail.com. You could join our Discord server. You can support us on Patreon. All of that is in our link tree. At the top of that link tree is a link to this book. If you would like to support the author, please do so. It is not an affiliate link. We do not get anything for that. Speaking of Patreon, if you support us, you will join the ranks of such Patreon luminaries as Stephanie Hawkins, Gemma, Lady Squishy Buns, Tia Esk, Rob Gatika, Angela McNichols, Katie Hurd, That Nerd Gwendolyn Harper, Seneca O, and Rebecca K. The music that you hear in this and every episode is called Nostalgia by Mackay Beats. You can find it along with thousands of other songs free of charge for you to use at the Free Music Archive, freemusicarchive.org. And we have a very special episode coming up next because this is our 50th episode.
Dun, 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 dun.
What are we doing for our 50th episode?
For our 50th episode, we are continuing on our incredible journey with the Villainous Things series. We are doing Putting Out for a Hero by C. Rochelle with returning special guest Josh Fekete to continue to enjoy all of those sexy superheroes with us. And I can't wait.
Can't fucking wait.
In the meantime, listener, if there is a book in you, write it. And if there's fucking in it, I'll read it.
And then she will come on this show and explain it to me for your entertainment.
This has been a weird night. Bye.